Hello and welcome to Expanding Magic. I'm Swati Kameswar and I will be guiding you through this activity where we will create guidance cards to work with the Jupiter in Gemini transit. So here are the materials you're going to need. A watercolor paper, 9-inch by 12-inch or larger, and paints, brushes, the usual creative supplies. You'll also need some scissors to cut out the cards. And if you don't have painting supplies, that's totally fine. You can just create the cards using paper and markers. All right, so let me give you a little bit of information about expanding magic and what we are going to cover today. So this video has 3 parts. The first one, we will be going through a teaching on the Jupiter in Gemini transit. So looking at what is the energy of Jupiter and what is the energy of Gemini and how those two come together during this year-long transit. So as you are listening to this teaching, pay attention to what sparks your interest. Write down any keywords that stand out to you and that you want to focus on. And we are going to use these keywords with an intentional creativity exercise to create those guidance cards that will guide you through this transit in the coming year. Now, I have also recorded this video during the Gemini new moon window. And in addition to the moon and the sun and Jupiter, we also have Mercury and Venus in Gemini. So the Gemini energy of playfulness and inspiration is infused into this video. Allow yourself to play and be whimsical as you create and adapt this activity to the materials you have on hand. Give yourself about an hour for this activity. And if you can, do it out in the fresh air to get that inspiration of the air element. All right, let's get started. I invite you to drop into your heart and focus on your breath and take a deep breath of fresh air. And intentionally connect to the element of air and intentionally connect to this transit, Jupiter and Gemini, and hold the intention to connect to the highest essence of this transit, the gifts that this transit has to offer to you, open to receive information, insights, wisdom about this transit. All right, let's start with what Jupiter in Gemini is all about. Now, Jupiter goes through Gemini between May 25th of this year, 2024, through June 9th of 2025. So it's about a year-long transit. And it's a key transit for the collective transformation of humanity because of the nature of Gemini's energy. Now, this transit can also be very personal if you have planets in the sign of Gemini or nodes and angles. And that's why being open to the highest gifts of this transit can be very useful for consciously creating your life. So Jupiter is a planet that represents the principle of expansion. It represents amplification and activation. Now, it can expand the good as well as the bad. And that's why it really pays to be intentional with where you're putting your energy during this transit, because all the negative aspects of Gemini can also be expanded. The other keywords for Jupiter are activation of life purpose, higher self-connection, exploration of your higher purpose, your life purpose, study of spirituality, and quest for higher truth. Now, Jupiter, the planet, resonates very much with the energy of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, being a fire sign, is all about visibility, illumination, lighting up, shining a light on, as well as transformation. And now your experience of this transit can depend on where does your focus go? It can expand the good as well as the bad traits of Gemini. It can shine a light on all of those things. So where you put your attention is key, because your attention and your intention is shaping your experience of this transit as well as expanding that reality that you are living. So how do you work with this transit? So the first thing is to be aware of the positive traits of Gemini, as well as the distortions. Like, how can the Gemini energy show up in a distorted way? It's really helpful to pay attention to that, because collectively those distortions can really be amplified. Distortions like noise and lies and a lot of chaos. And when you're aware of that, you can consciously choose to focus on putting your energy towards the things that you want to expand in your life, rather than expanding the negative distortions. And the second way to work with it is to be aware of the essence, that is the positive traits of Gemini, and amplify that, focus on that. Now let's talk about the Gemini energy. So Gemini is an air sign, and air represents the mental realm. So our thoughts, our perceptions, our communication and expression. And Gemini in this current day plays a really important role in uplifting consciousness of humanity. The key words that represent Gemini, some of them are like words, language, expression, and vision. It can represent communication of your higher purpose, your sacred work, your sacred message. It represents expression through various different means, like expressing through the pen. Maybe you want to write, expressing through the voice, singing, speaking, as well as expressing creatively through the brush or other creative pursuits. Using words and language to create a new story is a beautiful way to work with this transit. Writing a new story for ourselves, our families, and our communities. Seek to use words that inspire and empower and have a clear, concise message. Now, another aspect of Gemini is curiosity and perspective, openness, seeing the other side, being open to different choices. Now, this is where it can get noisy because there are too many choices and our focus can easily get scattered. So that's why bringing intention into this is key. The mutable nature of Gemini allows for flexibility and change and new perspectives. So it's a beautiful time to be open to changing your perspective about things that may be challenging you or that may be where you feel stuck. Because this allows for shifting the mental stories through words and language and to intentionally bring back magic into our lives. Now, another really important quality of Gemini is vibration. That is shifting the vibration to lightheartedness through a whole lot of different modalities or tools like play, humor, joy, and fun, sound medicine, color, flower essences, creativity, and learning to be masterful in shifting vibration and shifting energy to lightness and fun is a key trait of Gemini. The other aspect of Gemini is that it desires freedom. It's an air sign, so it desires to be free. It's like this, it's like a free electron. It's not bound by rules. It's outside the rules, and that's another key trait of Gemini. So as you are hearing all these different traits of Jupiter and Gemini, note what came up for you and take some time to journal on this. All right, so now we will start with the activity of creating your cards. And the first step we do is to bless the portal. And by that, I mean the paper that you are going to be drawing on and doing this exercise, creating the cards with, is a portal into the highest essence of this transit. So we treat it with sacredness, and you can do this by getting centered before you do this exercise. Put your hands on the paper and breathe deep and speak your intention out loud into the paper. And your intention can be as simple as, I intend to connect to the highest essence of Jupiter in Gemini. I intend to receive the gifts of Jupiter in Gemini. Show me. And then you can rub the paper with any sacred objects you have on hand, like flowers, crystals, if that calls to you. All right. Now, the next step is to intuitively pick a color for Jupiter and another one for Gemini. So just tune in and feel into what color does Jupiter want to be represented by. And the same thing for Gemini. And then paint one half of the paper with the first color and the other half of the paper with the second color. And these images in these slides can just illustrate what's going on. Now, as this dries, as the paper dries, in your journal, write down the different qualities of Jupiter as well as Gemini that stood out to you from that teaching. And you can go back and look at the slide, look at the recording of the slides as well, and notice what stands out to you. What are you opening to? What wants to come through during this next 1 year? And write down the keywords. Pick about 5 to 8 words that hold the strongest energy for you. When you're done with that, and when the paper is dry, fold the paper and then cut it into 2 halves with a scissor. And now cut each half into several parts so that you have a card for each of the words that you've picked. Now, if you wanted to make these cards larger, feel free to use more paper. Just for the purpose of illustration, I've used one sheet of 9 by 12, and with that, I was able to make 16 cards, 8 for each Jupiter and Gemini. But feel free to adapt this to whatever you want. If you want to make fewer cards, that's fine too. So you should have a stack of 2 cards. One is for Jupiter and one is for Gemini. Now turn them around and write down the keywords that you've selected for each one of them, and feel free to really take time with this part of the exercise. Let your energy infuse into these cards as you're creating them. Allow yourself to be playful, embellish it with whatever symbols or colors or anything else that calls out to you. And this is really fun because you're going to be using these cards over the next few months or the year. And of course, you can always redo this exercise and create new cards. But the idea is to infuse your energy of playfulness and delight as you're creating this. Now, how do you use the cards? Here are some suggestions. Before you use the cards, get centered and drop into your heart and connect to the highest sense of Jupiter in Gemini. Take a breath of fresh air, connect to your higher self in any way that feels good to you, and hold the intention that you are desiring insight about this transit through these cards. Then shuffle the cards in each set and intuitively pick one from each set. Now put them together and tune into the message they have for you. You can journal on this message. You can work with this message for a day, for a week, or a month, however, whatever feels good to you, and journal on the insights and notice how that information comes through in your life. What insights are you receiving? What actions are you being prompted to take? What other wisdom are you getting from these cards? Because they will start to open you up to deeper and deeper levels and teachings and wisdom of both of these archetypes, Jupiter as well as Gemini. Repeat anytime you want to breathe fresh inspiration into your life. So when I did this exercise myself during the new moon window last week, some of the cards I received were visibility and mastering the art of shifting vibration. So this has a lot of meaning for me personally, and I can quickly explain here what that means for me. One of the most important aspects of Gemini, I feel, is the art of shifting vibration, of transmuting heaviness into lightness, in transmuting any dense energies into a sense of ease and grace. And that is my one of my skills as a coach, but that is something that I'm constantly refining for myself, as well as learning how to help others through it. And visibility is also something that I have been working on to get more visible with this aspect of my work. And so this guidance that I received about mastering the art of shifting vibration helps me to become more visible, or it helps my beloveds to become more visible, or that visibility allows for the opportunities to master the art of shifting vibration. So there are so many different ways you can work with these cards, and for each person, it will be different. It will be the message that you receive will be unique to you. And it's important to tune into what is the message you're receiving and to give it space and time to allow that message to unfold, because the energy of Gemini can be quite, it can seem quite on the surface, but there's also a lot going on underneath the surface. And if we don't allow that insight to ground, because Gemini is an air sign and it is such a strong air sign, the insights can come and then quickly vanish. So to work with these cards and to open to the highest essence of this transit, you want to allow yourself space and give permission for this insight to land, to ground. So some of the ways to do that would be to journal on this insight. Notice what comes up as you journal on it, not just once or twice, but do it at least 4 or 5 times. And sitting in the fresh air can really help to shine a light on deeper levels of this message. Now, the second set of cards that I pulled was focus and flower power. And to me, flowers really represent the positive aspects of the Gemini energy. The color, the fragrance, the inspiration that I get by just looking at flowers. They just bloom in their uniqueness in their own time. The amount of upliftment that you get when you are around flowers, or at least when I'm around flowers, that is so strong. It's a very, very positive representation of the Gemini energy. And going deeper beyond that, flowers have vibrational healing capacity through flower essences, through the fragrance, through the essential oils, and so on. So flower essences is something that I've been working with for a while. And in the last 6 months, that has amplified greatly, where I'm working with newer flowers that I had not worked with before, and really opening to receive the vibrational healing that they offer. And so, in a way, I'm not surprised that this set of cards showed up, and it's a very strong confirmation from my higher self that that is the right step for me. That's the right guidance to focus more on the flowers in many different ways. So these were some of the examples that can illustrate how you can use these cards for yourself. So hopefully that gave you some ideas. Now, connect with these cards on a regular basis, journal with them often, and let them be a reminder of the vibration of the expression that you're stepping into, that you're expanding in your life in the coming year. And do pay attention to the insights and ideas and take action on them. Like I said earlier, insights with Gemini can come fast and furious, and they can, it desires newness. Gemini desires newness. So one idea may show up today, and then later in the day, some other idea may show up, and then you've forgotten the first one. But to allow this energy to ground within you, taking action on them is recommended. And of course, feel free to repeat this activity anytime during the year to stay connected to the highest essence of this beautiful transit. Now, I have a bonus 29-minute video on Gemini, on deeper aspects of Gemini, 6 traits, positive traits, as well as 6 distorted traits of Gemini on my YouTube channel, and I put a link there. So if you feel called to look at that, to get more of a sense of what Gemini energy is about, feel free to take a look at it before creating your cards. And I'm wishing you immense blessings of play, inspiration, joy, lightheartedness, and ease as you play with this transit. Thank you for joining me. Bye.